All right. Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to this live webinar on finding a job during tough times. Like, how do you really win a job during these tough times? So I am Paresh Masade. I am founder and CEO of WOW. We help colleges with their alumni networks. And today we are doing this in partnership with colleges. We have with us Professor Kavita from St. Anne's College, Medipatnam, Hyderabad. I would like to invite Professor Kavita to invite our distinguished guest to the dais. Ma'am, can you please introduce her?
Thank you, Mr. Paresh. Good evening, all. Myself, Kavita Reddy, Placement Coordinator, Department of Computer Science, St. Anne's College for Women, Mehedipatnam. Firstly, I would like to thank Mr. Paresh, CEO of WOW Company, for giving a wonderful opportunity for our students to participate in the webinar and clarify their respective queries. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. G.R. Reddy, speaker of today's webinar, Winning a Job in Tough Times. Mr. G.R. is a founder and CEO of Hughes Consulting, the first HR company to be listed in India. He is a HR veteran who has been helping people find right jobs for over 30 years and is the author of First Job, a book for college students to step into corporates, and also helped facilitate more than 100 international startups and many Fortune 500 companies leverage India talent. Last but not the least, he is the father of Meghna Reddy, India's best rhythmic gymnast. I welcome you, sir, for today's webinar.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the introduction. So, welcome, Gia. Welcome to this live webinar. So, before I go ahead with the session, I would like you to quickly speak a couple of lines about Meghna and her work. And yeah, that would be, you would be a proud father of Meghna. So we'll start with that.
Okay, that's actually an honor. Thank you so much. So Meghna is a full-time gymnast. Okay, so she must have been now with all of you who are attending this session, probably in the college, but she chose against that, and she's full-time pursuing rhythmic gymnastics, which is actually a very new sport in the country. And what she's trying to do is to help more and more children to take up this sport in the future. It's always the first timers challenge. So she is actually treading some path, not necessarily that, we have to win a medal. That's not the objective. The objective is to kind of, can we create some opportunity, for more number of people. And it's an all women sport in Olympics. So I think that's again and one of the additional advantage of encouraging our girls to be able to take up this kind of a play, which has got an elegance and the expression and the it talks about the storytelling without even actually talking through your activities and using apparatus. So she has been one of the best, and she's competed for India as a lone participant for this game in Commonwealth 2018 at Gold Coast. And further, she's actually trying to look at a world ranking and also creating some kind of an identity for this sport in the country. Thank you.
That's great, Gia. So, Gia, let's begin the conversation. People are facing tough times. There have been a lot of uncertainty over the COVID that has brought in, both in terms of jobs that people have already got, and there are people who are looking forward for jobs right now. So, I would like to ask you the first question is like, what is your perspective about the entire scenario? And could you, if you can explain about what's going to happen and help people understand the uncertainty right now?
Okay, so one rider that I would like to really put in here is my 30 years of experience in the industry. The right people have never were denied an opportunity. Doesn't matter, what is the situation. And especially in the tough times, the actual right kind of people are going to really make that difference and change in building their careers. So in fact, it's a right opportunity for everybody, while you must understand that there are certain challenges that are going to be created because of the COVID. But again, it is going to emerge with a lot more new opportunities.
All right. So how would you want to start? I think you have some data that you would want to share with everyone. Would you want to?
Yeah, exactly. I think so. What we did is that we've been working as USIS for last 18 years with the MSMEs in the country, and we help actually basically set up HR department and run it, and also we help a lot of international startups to take shape in India, because like when they want to actually leverage some India talent, I think we are there always. We are one of the best and the largest professional employer organization called PEO across the globe. This is what is called, where we actually employ people on behalf of international companies in India. So that means it's not just the jobs that are existing only for the companies in India, but also outside. So in this journey, we just did one quick survey. I would like to share a few details because these are all very important for you to understand the complexity and what's happening in the minds of a CEOs of a small mid-sized enterprises. So we looked at about 500 CEOs who responded across the country, and these are some of the results I would like to just share quickly. This has got a distribution of services, IT, ITES services, about 45% of the companies, manufacturing and capital intensive, which are like typically the factories and where you are literally have to go and work. These are the industries, about 40%, and rest of them, the modern retail and online and other businesses, which are 15% that we covered. And irrespective of any one of them, each of them actually got impacted during this lockdown. And some companies have a high impact, like the airlines or hotels or the restaurants and tourism. These are the ones which are very highly impacted from the day one, and it's almost like a zero. But there are some industries which are also mediumly impacted. That means that in a short term there is a problem, but also over while the lockdown is open, I think there's going to be an opportunity for them to kind of come back into normalcy. And there are some industries which also has not low impact, but also has got a bigger opportunity, like your groceries and all these, and education. Now you see that everything is happening, and even today what we are doing is education, part of the education, which is also actually seen a greater impact apart from the healthcare industries. So just to tell you, when we asked them about, this was in April 29th that we last asked the question, and what did they say? If you look at, some of them, they said 24% of the companies said they're going to reduce the salaries, and about 12% of them are going to lay off. I think that's actually something that you need to be aware of. While 23% again are actually going to say we are going to do both, reduce the salaries and also employees. I think this is an impact. But 29% plus 12%, this percentage who said they would like to maintain status quo, would like to see what is happening. And today, I think at 4 o'clock, when our finance minister is going to talk about what kind of a support that is being given to the MSMEs in the country, I think that's going to define what is going to happen to this chart. However, if you understand one perspective, I would like to say, why did we do this with MSMEs? Is that MSMEs are the largest employer after agriculture in our country. So that means, where are you all getting absorbed when you get out of your college is not the largest companies that or largest companies that your neighbor knows, largest companies your mom and dad knows. It says the companies which are small and mid-sized enterprises. Hence, I think today I would definitely like you to really review this data, which is very helpful. And also, when we asked what are they going to do in the future, so 23% of them said that there's no new hiring. So that means that freshly they are not going to hire new people, but however, they're going to look at more responsibilities given to the existing teams into this, give more responsibilities. And also, there is no further wage increase. That's the response there. So that means what it shows you today, for your reference, is they are going to be conscious. They're going to be watch what is going to happen and impact on their business, and hence they're going to take some response towards post-COVID kind of a situation. So that's a quick update, Paresh. This is I think is a base for our discussion going forward.
Sure. That means that most of the companies are actually going to either reduce the staff or cut down the salaries, and this definitely means that it's going to lead to a recession, right?
Yeah.
So, so give a context for what should a student look out for as a something that you would want to, someone who has just got a job who is probably in the final year students. We have a lot of final year students in the attendees today. As a final year students, there are two options. Like either some of them have got the job already, or some of them are looking forward for job. So what's going to happen for them?
Okay, so let's take one by one. Let's look at somebody who's just got a job and they're supposed to be joining, like, the offers have been given. What the sense that we are getting is many of the companies are going to honor the offers that are made, especially at the fresh level. We see the impact that when I said the salaries are going to be getting salaries impacting, and also employees are going to be redundant. That means it's going to affect the mid management and above. So that means there is whoever has the larger ticket. If you see some of the data, whoever salaries is like 15 lakhs and above, these are the ones who are got impacted in the market, right? So that means that if I actually take out one 15 lakh person, out of the system, I actually can hire, many new people. So I think in the dark, we can see the silver line, that there is an opportunity for the fresh talent, but provided that they may not be really spending time on somebody who's very raw. So I think please understand, this is very important. The day when you go, you need to be ready to deliver services. So that's how they're going to look at, and they're going to honor some of the offers. But in case if any of the companies that are not honoring this, probably as a student, if you have an offer, my suggestion is offer them that you will work from home, or offer them spend some time until things get this thing. Don't just go and say that now that you've given me offer, why are you not really taking me? I think that will never take you anywhere. The best way that you can show your maturity to the company is that I am there with you because you made an offer, that I'm there with you to work. Let's work together in this situation. I don't mind working with you offline until situation come to a normalcy, and then help you with, can I actually do it as an internship? Maybe not a paid internship, but however, I know that there's a job. But in next 3 months, you are able to build such a a bonding with the company that they can never refuse you. In case if there is a chance that, I think this is what that you should be approaching. So this is one on the people who have already offers, Paresh.
Yeah. So those who are already have offers probably can just offer to the company saying that, hey, I'm here available for you. Just like the company is saying that I'm going to honor your request. So I remember what happened in 2008 was like most of the guys who graduated in 2008, and I was just in the college then. So most of them actually had offers in hand, and because of the recession, all of their offers got delayed. So there are a few instances where companies honored the jobs even after an year or so. But they did offer, they did honor all the requests that they've made. So what should a person do in the next 1 year? So like if there's going to be a delay of like at least 1 year to 6 months before they actually ask them for a come back to the office. So what should they do in the next 6 months?
My clear understanding is that either you should be improving your capabilities during this time. That is one. The second, the most important, which everybody ignores, and if any one of you who are really interested, is that you must start networking now, because your networking doesn't mean that you know how many fellow college students that no, it's not that. How many professors do go after them asking for a job? No, what I'm actually referring to is your reference of network is the business owners of the companies or the senior management of the companies, and this you can actually get through LinkedIn, such kind of professional network. And also I think very important thing is go to some of these sites where you actually are presenting your tech. If you're a tech guy, probably you can go and talk about some tech programs that you can do online, and all the competitions, and keep upgrading yourself. Keep and don't look at what is happening today. Just don't worry about it. Just look at little far ahead. And networking is always a long-term objective, but network with a purpose of learning and learning from those seniors. That's it. Don't ever ask for a job. Don't even show that there is a concern that I'm actually looking for a job, hence I'm actually networking with you. Then you'll fall flat. There is never a situation where it worked. I have never seen, because the moment you show an anxiety, your doors are shut. And once it's shut, you can never open. So just focus on networking, learning from the seniors, and also taking inputs. Ask intelligent questions. Ask for support. Probably, I think that's the only thing. Don't ask for a job at all as a job. Jobs will come automatically, because if they see your maturity, anybody would love to have in their network or in their company to work.
So here in the same context, like those who probably do not have a job at hand and they are just entering the market, and now none of the companies are actually hiring, right? They're looking forward to cut down. So what should they do?
Yeah, so I think it is very important. Anyway, we have time now because nobody is in a hurry to actually hire. So at least keep yourself a 3 months of target. 3 months of target, as I said, that first thing, you start looking at the companies that you would like to work with. Make a list. I can tell you that some of the things that I'm saying, if you really follow to the core, you can never say that I haven't got a job. So what I'm actually saying is that first look at companies that you would like to target. Okay, doesn't matter whether it's a technical, non-technical, or IT company, non-IT company. Don't worry about those things, right? All the companies are going to come back to normal in any case. Some will come faster, some will take time. So make a list of, I would say, okay, let me just put some numbers. So you should have, let's say, 100 companies that you would like to target. Okay, go ahead and look at these 100 companies. Who are the people who are on LinkedIn, where you make your LinkedIn profile properly and make sure that it's improved continuously, where you do some online programs and then update this on that, and then also see what's happening. So follow all the companies that you have identified, make a list on an Excel sheet, then say that have I followed? Yes, I followed all of those. And then you say that who are the people who are there in the company who may potentially be able to help you in getting you inside the company. So go ahead and look at the managers and above. Don't worry about the HR. You don't have to get in touch with HR. Always you can be in touch with the managers who are actually responsible. Probably they'll be able to connect with you well. Then maybe HR comes in later. But I think at this time, you please get in touch with all the managers and above, whoever is in those companies. Probably in 100 companies, let's say 5 each. So that means 500 connections if you are able to make, and make constant contact and also updation, and also you keep sharing your thoughts, or if they have posted something, comment intelligently. Don't just comment for the sake of comment. Okay. And that will actually build a kind of a profile over a period of time. And also you keep watching what kind of jobs that are coming up in those companies. It might be posted everywhere on their website or on their LinkedIn, or maybe any other job portals that are there. Keep watching, but don't really jump into just doing things. So I think that those are the very basic. I'm saying I'm not going to the next level, but these are the very basics that one must do to be able to be ready, right? And this means it's actually it's tougher than your exam, because for exam, you have a portion you read and you write the exams, and fortunately all of you guys getting more than 70%. We never got it, but so you should be able to do this very sincerely, and this is a real test of your seriousness.
Sure. So what you're saying is something that we always believe in, like alumni are the ones that can actually help you very well. And this is the time you should actually network with your seniors. Seniors are the best ones to guide you. And maybe that's what, like when GR is saying that network is very important for you, that's what it means. And your alumni, even if they do not know you, probably just go back and reach out to you and say, hey, I'm going to help you out. They'll at least guide you. They may not give a job to you directly, but they at least guide you on what are you going, what can you do the next. So
it always works, Paresh. My experience is that when alumni, just even if you are from the same university, sometimes I've seen not just the college, forget about college, but just the university itself gives a lot of openness to accept their, this thing or any question. And as you rightly said, alumni in the network series, alumni are the first one. So you first catch your alumni on the network, and or maybe identify where in what companies that they are. Your 100 companies, can 50% come from only there?
Yes.
That's what I would say, Paresh.
Yes, absolutely. So, Jian, again, coming back, there are a lot of students who are in the third year now, who are just going to graduate in the May of 2021. So what is your advice for them? How could they actually plan out for the next 1 year? Because their placements will probably happen in the month of September, October, or November, which is probably not going to happen now. Companies will not come back. So what is your advice for them?
So first thing, if you are depending on a placement, is you are committing a crime. Committing a crime against your career. That's a first and foremost. So that means assume that there is not going to be any placements. Just assume that. I think that's the first thing. But the second thing, very important, is that Paresh, I would say that these people are the luckiest fellows. Right. They are actually the most lucky guys in this whole turmoil. The reason being that they are not in a hurry to actually return on investment that they have to get on their studies, right? But they actually got a shocker, or they got an opportunity opened up, the window opened up. I think this is where that they need to work. So what they need to work is, they need to really look at, don't go by, I don't know whether if they have formal internships that are available through the college that they have to do it. I think, I don't know, somehow people do just for the sake of it, just for the heck of it, I need to do some project and all that. I think you need to leave that attitude. Now your attitude is that you are going to do an internship online. That's okay. You can always be online, whether it's be it an IT company or a non-IT company also. People will be willing to take your services, because all that as one of the biggest skill is internet. Okay, if you know how to manage internet, there is a whole lot of opportunity. So hence, what my suggestion is that identify the same set of alumni, or maybe the network and the list of companies, and approach them you yourself. I think it's a test. If you're able to approach 50 of them in the next 2-3 months, you'll be able to get 3 or 4 at least, guaranteed. I'm saying it with confidence, because even if 1 lakh people, it's like studying for IITs. You have lakhs of people study, but only 3,000 go. That means out of lakhs, only 20,000 are actually serious, and out of 20,000, 3,000. It's the same rule out here. While I'm talking about this, I think it is very important for you to take a note of this and say, okay, I'm going to approach my alumni who are there in better positions. And don't, one sin that you don't want to do today is to ask your professor saying that, can you give me my alumni, network or this thing. Either you go on, Paresh's website, or on the LinkedIn, go and search. If you're asking your professor even any questions as on today, is a crime, that I can tell you, because you all as a team can create much more impact than asking for a professor. I think your life is going to end asking somebody to do a job. So hence, I think that's the first thing, no. And then look for those companies where you can actually help and say that, hey, I'm here to do an internship. I can do any type of internship, where can you help me? Or, can I actually do it? I don't mind doing it for the next 1 year. There is nothing wrong, because you can do part of the time. And anyway, you're not going to go to college anyway, over the next few months or so. So I think that's the best way to approach and build that relationship. Build that relationship. By 2021, I'm sure things are going to be much more different. And you have to really identify companies which are actually doing well right now, and also which will do well, once the lockdown is open. So you have to do some research on that.
Right. So coming back to your question, like what you just mentioned, it was like go and work for internships. Probably that's something like probably a free internship or a low cost, like even with a lower stipend. I'm not sure how many will pay a stipend at this point of time, but even that would really help. Now the question what I realize is that most of the people don't even ask for, hey, can you give me an internship? I would want to offer my services for free to you. So there's very less number of students actually will come and do. And if they do that in the next, like probably the third year, it's like they're just entering the final year, right? So if they do that, I would say, at least as a founder, as someone, as you being a CEO of the company, you would say, hey, this guy is more proactive. And I would probably first give a plus point for him for being proactive itself, right? So rather than even
Absolutely.
actually going
Absolutely.
ahead and looking forward for his skills, that itself is a very important skill that most of the people miss out.
Yeah, let me tell you, Paresh, I don't think we have ever hired for people for their degrees and what they learned. I don't think I would have ever interviewed anybody or any of the business owners who are actually, seriously looking for people. They look for a great attitude, somebody, because see, we all suffer from lack of resources as a startup or as a grow up. So if somebody is coming with an idea, where you can actually enhance your capability, I think we just hug. Of course, hug is not allowed, in these times, but we would love to really do that.
Right, absolutely. So go ahead and start asking companies on, can you help me? Like, I would like to work with you. Can you really help me out? So those
And
are
one thing, Paresh, I would like to really say, when they go to a company, they must have done some study about the company and then go. So they have to say that, sir, you are in this field, you're doing this way. Probably I can help in 1 or 2, 3 things. But if there is anything that you can actually give me, also I'm okay. But you must do that first bit of preparation is very important.
right, absolutely. So apart from that, another important part, there are a lot of alumni. We had a session earlier about a week ago where we said startups are the best time. Like best time for startup is usually a recession, and the recession is coming ahead. And you've been an entrepreneur and you've been a supporter of entrepreneurship for quite some time. I know that you work with a lot of startup companies. So can you just shed your thoughts on this?
I always have this saying that students now in the college or just out of the college are in the best times to start up anytime, because their risk is actually nil at this point of a time. So what happens is, if you actually have 2, 3 years of experience, I'm sure you will buy one bike or something EMIs, then the EMIs will start driving you. So 50% of capability to start up will go off. And after that, 50% will go off, now that you are settled, you will get married. So after that, it's gone, gone with the wind, unless you have the better partner who actually can think that you have a entrepreneurial abilities. So hence, I think it is the time that you should experiment. Or 2 things that you can do. One, you can always start up your own, but not necessary that you need to have so much of investment to do it. Look for the startups who are definitely almost all the startups without investment definitely struggle to actually attract the good people. And it is nothing but actually you being a co-founder with them, right? So it is always good to go and talk to them and say, how can I contribute to you? So even though you may start as an internal trainee, or even though you may start as a, hey, I'll just help you, don't worry about it, I'll come and help you, let's just work together, kind of an option will help you to get a deeper understanding. And if in the mind, if you're an entrepreneurship, I'm sure you will figure out a way. There is no way that somebody is going to train you. And I think that's where you can actually start off. Not necessary that full time you only have to have a startup, but if you have, definitely, then you should start it now, right? And one thing that I can suggest here is, if you have a startup idea or something, earlier I mentioned about interacting with the senior managers and senior professionals in the network, right? So what you need to do is, you can bounce this off ideas to some of them, and I can tell you, guarantee that whoever has 10, 15 years of experience, they are going through a tremendous stress of doing the same thing again and again and again, in life, but they're getting paid very highly, but they can't get out and start something. Probably they can actually be your guide because they have experience. They'll have some money to invest in what you're actually doing. So I think it's a great opportunity to start in any way.
Sure. So that's so let's take a couple of questions from the panel that's there. We can actually look at the questions there also, but I will specifically ask you. So there's one question by Abhishek Dawar. It's though he asked specifically about production engineering graduates, I would put it in a more general way. So what are the opportunities for non-IT companies? There are a lot of production engineers, mechanical engineers, everything else. And when we say most of the companies that come to campus are usually an IT companies. So what's going to be the future for the non-IT companies?
Yeah, my response is that if you're already not spoiled in your thinking, that I'm going to go to IT, then I think I will be responding to only to those uh, who love their subject and who wants to be in that area. And please understand that no IT is existing without the other industries. Please understand, everything that you're doing, it is for the industry. If not today or tomorrow, you have to use technology in any industry, whether it's related to manufacturing technology or IT technology, right? Hence, I think it's always good to have a foundation. I can tell you that if you start with non-IT and then add IT as a skill, you become an asset for any organization. But if you start with IT and remain in IT, you become a liability. Okay, this is what I was mentioning, right? 15 lakhs and above, why are they taking out? Because I think there's a new technology coming up. People are actually going to adapt it much faster and better, right? But in manufacturing and other segment, what happens is the deeper understanding of the function is important. Hence, I think I would say that that's a great opportunity. And what do you do now? Now, all the companies which are in manufacturing, probably you can list out whoever asked the question, if you can list out those companies and approach those founders, approach those senior managers, and probably I think you will have a better this thing. Don't do look for a job opportunity where there is a job posting, I want to apply. That will never work. Please, just keep that aside. Now you need to know which company that you want to target and how do you want to approach to them and reach them to say that, hey, I have this understanding and I want to really work in this field. And if you are really doing that, I don't think there is a challenge. And what is going to happen is all the manufacturing companies now are actually reinventing themselves post-COVID. How they're going to reorganize their processes and systems, etc. And I think the fresh talent, fresh ideas are definitely the key for their survival in the future. So hence, I think I see a great opportunity, Paresh, in non-IT. I mean, IT, I don't think it will service our nation. It is only the non-IT which is going to serve our nation, and that is where you can contribute. Each one of you who are in the on today's show, or maybe who's going to watch this later.
So there's a very interesting question here, GR. This is from from Krishna Priya, who is a commerce graduate, and she says that I am very afraid that to compete with the BTech graduates at Technology, specifically those coming from a BTech graduates, and what should probably she do? What are the opportunities that exist for a non-engineering graduates?
Priya, one thing that I can say that probably you have an advantage because you spend less number of years to study your graduation, okay? And all the BTech graduates who are competing are with you on a normal case. They're not really doing anything, which is core of 4 years that they have actually studied. End of the day, what you're really going to do is, what all we are going to do is the BCom, which is commerce related. Any jobs that you're looking at, most of the jobs which are desk based or IT services and all supports, everything is going to be more on BCom based. So I think over a period of time, we also realized the engineers that we are not hiring. Let me tell you why we are not hiring engineers. Actually, earlier we needed to have 16 years of study to ship a coolie, software coolie, to US. I'm using the word very seriously because we want to make more money on one body, the body shopping. Hence, it was a 16-year study. Hence, BTech graduates were taken. But I don't think it is no longer relevant in this world, because now the jobs are coming from there to here, and you can do from anywhere. In such case, just don't even think about that you're competing with BTech graduates. Just take out of your mind, and you are actually minus BTechs. I think you are actually in a better shape, and you are in a better advantage position, I would say.
All right. True, that's true. And most of the times it's like they do 4 years of engineering and then realize that that's not something they want, and then shift to something else and probably take up sales.
I remember, Paresh, I remember my experience when I was with a product company in IT, way back in 97, 98, those times, because we were earning more money. We used to get about, let's say, $50 per hour here. We used to get $180, when we go there. So naturally, we want to make more money. So what we used to do is take a fresh graduate, rename as a senior software engineer, because he has to be a senior to go to the other country. And then he's just a fresher, but we title him as that. And because he has 16 years of study, and hence we were able to really send them. That's how it was. But I don't think it has got no meaning today.
Right. So there are a couple of questions here regarding the salary. Salary in terms of for the graduates who will probably either graduating now or the ones who are graduating in 2021. And there have been also news that most of the people who are already working, they have almost 30% pay cut. That's a report from as well, like saying that there's almost most of the companies are doing 30% pay cut. That's almost 2 years ago what the salary was there. They're going back to that. So as a fresh, how should they expect? How should they approach? And what should they expect? Like, how do I ask? The question exactly was, how do I ask for a high salary in the interview?
You should ask only when you can quantify that how much business are you going to do for the business. It's a very simple answer. Today we were not able to figure out, Paresh, why should I pay so much money to a fresher itself, right? Whereas if you ask me, what you deserve is a minimum wage. Just because you're a body, you have certain qualification, hence there is a minimum wage. That's where you need to start. Anything more than that you should not expect. But you should expect anything more than that only when when you can talk to the company and say that, hey, I'm going to be valuable of, let's say I'm going to build 1 crore of revenue, hence I deserve so much. So I think that it has to be in relation with the outcome and the business impact that you're going to do. That is why that always I say that a fresher, just don't worry about the salary. Just get into a company. The moment you spend 1 month within the company, you become more valuable than actually 1 month back. Nobody wants to lose you. Once you're actually contributing, if your contribution is high value to the company, nobody wants to release you. And even in this tough time, Paresh, I can guarantee you that I know there are people who got hikes now. Nobody reports because general janta is actually getting a pay cut across. But I think the key position, we call them as a red zone positions, which we don't want to lose. So all that you need to do is either you have to be on the zone where the companies cannot afford to lose you, or as a fresher, you are able to communicate that how much is the value that you're going to create to the company. That's it.
Right. So getting back to the same context that we started, like you mentioned that work with a company and they would actually probably hire you, network and same thing. So similar thoughts maybe also is that, hey, if you actually you join a company as an internship, and most of the companies say that when the things open up, probably 6 months from here, I think, when things open up, they would probably want to promote you who they already know. And who they already say, I practically know this guy's skills and what he's good at, and I would probably absorb him in a full-time position rather than someone else, right? Yeah. So that could be a very good approach for someone looking forward for a job there, right?
So even I would add now, Paresh, because I have seen in my career some of the people, even if I haven't given an opportunity as an internship, for whatever the reasons as a company, I know there are some students who did their own research on my behalf of my company, like in the sense that they understood what is the company, I know what can be done with this company. They actually came up with a report and say, sir, this is the report, I'm giving it to you. You don't give me a internship, doesn't matter. But I think this is what I made. If this makes any sense, just imagine, Paresh, you would love to just jump and say that even if you don't have a position, you can't afford also, I will sell my house and, hire that guy.
So we actually had something similar. Someone sent me a product comparison report with all our competitors and said, hey, this is how it is. And you probably, we said we are not hiring at this moment. And he sent a similar report to a competition and they hired him actually.
That's it. So you are making yourself more, sellable in the market.
Right. So there are a lot of questions about how do I find internship opportunities in different domains. We did discuss about it, but any other specific insights, any 1, 2, 3 steps that we have? Do you have a silver bullet there?
Yeah. There are a few things that you can do, Paresh. One is, of course, definitely you do a search of the companies, the top 500 list of companies or so, or go to the website of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, MCA, where you have all the companies list anywhere. But however, there are a few things that you can do in a shorter, this thing is that you try to approach some of the groups of CEOs, where there are lots of WhatsApp groups today, and they are beautifully run, by so many. So you can actually approach any one of those, admins whom that, okay, there's a group of CEOs, group of companies, group of HR, try and approach them and say that, okay, can I get in touch with them? Can I actually know, who are the people who are there? That's one. The other also that you can approach the industry associations. Industry associations have some kind of a set of companies that are existing. Maybe you can approach and say that, look at what are the companies that are existing there. You can always do it. Today, when you go to NASCOM or any other website, you actually have a list of companies which are actually listed there. You have an automobile, industry association. I mean, there are thousands of industry associations and localized as well. So I think I was like surprised to know that there are 3,000 automobile associations in Andhra and Telangana. Associations. Forget about the number of companies, right? So I think there are, in a small group, all clusters are formed an association, and it is available everywhere. So all that you need to do is to kind of approach to the president or whoever it is, on just phone call, landline or whatever later, and you can, say that, hey, I want to approach your companies, or maybe, can you give me an opportunity to reach out to them? Will be more than enough. So that's another way to do it. Paresh.
So again, stressing back on the same point of networking, that's very important. I would like to bring in a context here to people like who may not know. It's that the placement system, the placement office is something that we have been saying that's only existing in India. If you go to US, there's nothing called a placement office. If you're doing an MBA or even an MS in US, you just have a career center who would probably train you, build your professional skills, and you will have to actually go out and reach out to companies. There's nothing called a placement team or a placement office that actually will be helping you place in a company.
That's right.
So networking is a key skill that you'll have to learn. And that's what GR is stressing on again and again.
I will also say one more thing for the benefit of every one of them is there is something called in HR called an outplacement service, okay, or career transition service. We charge heavily in thousands of dollars to actually help people to transition into a new job. But we will never promise a job. Imagine when I'm actually charging so much. And then somehow, unfortunately, we got so used to, of people doing job for us, but maybe with the lockdown, hopefully, Paresh, they would have learned to be on their own, not depend on the, domestic help or anybody. And I think you should apply the same principle now into your career. And future is going to be not that somebody is going to give you a job. You need to go to a job that you like it.
Absolutely.
You're not going to do a job, just because your mom, dad want you to go to a job. I don't think that's not the generation that maybe I'm talking to.
Right. And another interesting insight as well, like because of COVID, what's happening is that most of the times the interviews and all recruitments as well probably is going to be entirely changed. They will not probably recruit you based on your first impressions as such. So because it's not going to be face-to-face, it's not about how you attend the interview and just with the first impression, they will definitely look at your skill more than anything else. So it's a very important opportunity that you will have to notice on.
So one thing, Paresh, I would like to mention here is that that's the reason I was saying that, try and get in touch with the business functional managers, not HR managers, because HR managers have a data and they will screen through. They are there to actually screen negatively than actually positively. So if you are able to really, and then also how many of them are really trained to interview is a big question. So just keep it aside, but definitely if you are reaching a manager who's actually have, let's say 20 people under him and he has a mandate for 30 people, and he's the one who's going to very keenly look at what Paresh said in terms of your expertise and what you can actually give to the team. What is that you can add to the team? That's how he's going to look at. Whereas from an HR point of view, what are we going to look at is whatever the job description given, in terms of education, this much percentage, this much, this thing, we're going to do a tick marks, and which may not help you. So that's why the other way to approach is always better.
So there are two questions, one from Pravalika and Saujanya. These are about, they have a job offer in hand, but not sure how much time, when would their offer letter would come in. So any industry insight that you have, any estimate? I know it's very difficult, but any estimate on when can they expect something?
I think they should not wait for something, since if they have been offered a job or maybe yet to be given an offer letter or something, I think we talked about it. Just go back, talk to them and say that, hey, we want to start working with you. Right. We don't mind. Even if you don't give an offer, even after 3 months or 4 months, doesn't matter. Just try that. I'm sure, even if they don't give offer, but they will make an offer for you eventually, or you will at least get an experience, isn't it? Then you become more sellable in the market.
Yeah, actually. So you already have 6 months of experience, even if they don't have an offer letter.
Absolutely.
Actually use that.
That's more valuable.
And they would probably not want to lose you then, actually.
Yeah.
So there are one thing in terms of there have been a lot about healthcare, and healthcare has been going to be a focus area post COVID, both in terms of opportunities for fresh graduates, young graduates, opportunities for MBA in hospital administration. That's specifically the question from Anam Khan. Okay, and also what are the opportunities for R&D? Like how do you see the healthcare sector growing up?
I think going forward, the R&D is going to be definitely critical. Rest of the services anyway, irrespective of your qualification or whatever, except you are a surgeon, except you are a doctor, except you are a research scholar and scientist, rest of them are going to be in generic, in sales and services, operations, etc., etc. But I think the research is going to take a lot more bigger seat in the future, because the investment in research is going to increase more, because we have done enough of bulk drugs, or enough of producing large mass projects. But I think this COVID is actually taught us, saying that if you are not in the research, if you are not in a rapid generation of new products, and actually in one of the survey, Paresh, that in that survey, then we asked, okay, what are you going to do if you don't have, let's say, the business running? Right. You know what? Most of the 40% of the CEO said that they're going to design new products. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It's not just a healthcare, but elsewhere also. So that means that there is going to be a more focus on looking at what can be the future. That means that research and development that you could do in terms of whether it's a pharmaceutical or the healthcare sector or anywhere. I think there is enough buzz that happened on the health tech, but I think on the core of health also there is a lot more pending. I think we are far away, in terms of the research and research capabilities so far. But however, if you see that there are companies who are doing only research as a business for a lot of large companies. There are many in Hyderabad, many in Gujarat, or many in India, which, but I think it is going to grow. Contract, research earlier happening, but I think the investment that is going to happen in India in the research segment in the future, definitely, for sure.
Sure. So one question related, not related to this exactly, but there have been also a lot of talk about upskilling, and people say that, hey, upskill, there are questions about what skills I need post-COVID and etc. And there have been all these edutech companies have been marketing their own programs. Byju's is coming with programs, an academy comes with their own programs. So everyone has a lot of programs, and they say, hey, learn this, you'll get a job. You'll learn this. So that was how it was presented. And I feel a lot of students are confused at this point of time, because they're not sure which is the program they should choose right now. So is it means AI?
I think,
so how should they look at this?
I think the Amirpet has come online now. That much I can say. Unfortunately, when you go to Amirpet, you find everything happening, right? But it's happening. What is happening is it came online on your head. I don't think you should be really worried about that. But what you should be worried about is, are you very clear about what kind of career that you want to choose? Are you clear about the kind of companies that you want to go? Are you clear about what are those companies, their skill sets, their competencies? How can you really contribute are going to be more important. So your research on, what kind of companies, what kind of skills that you really want to go, right? And that's the only thing that you should focus. Forget about, mera friend gaya, my friend has gone for one program, and somebody else has gone for other programs, so I'm going to go. That's the old Amirpet mentality. Just keep it aside, and also, not listen to anyone. Just first you do your own research. And then one more thing, Paresh, I would like to really say to all the students here is that you must have a mentor, somebody who's not your friend, somebody who's not your parent, somebody who's not in your college, somebody from outside, from the industry. If you can really try and do it, probably they'll be able to help you. It's a career mentoring is also very, very important. We don't really give that importance, but I think you must have a mentor all through your career, right? So I think that's one thing that probably they should really talk to, identify and talk to some mentors, because If you see in LinkedIn and all, they also have pro bono, mentorship and all, people do. So you should go and ask them that, hey, I need some guidance, would you be my guide, for next, let's say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or whatever it is. And people are willing to give back to the younger generation. So I think that's where you need to map out things going forward.
So there have been a lot of questions about industries, multiple industries. Few of them have asked about construction as an industry, how is it going to be, or IT sector as such, how is it going to be post-COVID, as well as which other industries are actually going to be popular post-COVID. So any insights in that?
Yeah, so one thing for sure on IT, I can actually say what is going to happen, not only just IT, but anything related to services, right? It can be sales, marketing, on back office, and anything and everything. I see a huge opportunity happening on the gig workers, especially those who are on demand, who are available. Okay, today you don't have to be, let's say, going to a company and requesting for a job and then want to have a permanent job. So the future of jobs are going to be on demand, on call. That's it. So if you are able to really build certain skills and provide these only skills to people on demand, so that is where I think the future is going to be. And it is a bigger opportunity for most of the fresh graduates and whoever is passing out, the younger generation. They really need to look at job as what can you deliver, what can you get, and how can you improve your value from each month or each year. That's how it's going to be in the future. So hence the industry, especially on the IT side, we have seen that the larger companies are going to struggle because they have become, the IT companies especially have become real estate, in terms of investment into real estate, and the cost has become so much that they are not competitive enough to actually provide a service to the international customers, because they are also getting the same job elsewhere in Belarus or anywhere. They're actually getting much cheaper and more effective jobs. So hence actually they're going to really look forward for people, and I'm really betting on this, that the next generation, the next big billions that is going to happen into the country is going to come is only through the companies who are going to hire on contract workers anywhere in the globe. And India could be one part of it. And India being the youngest and also the knowledge-based economy and society, we are going to be the biggest recipient of that. And that is what you should be preparing for. So I would request each one of you to just run through some material about gig workers and all that, and I'm probably you'll get a lot more data, and then you will be ready for that.
Sure, absolutely. And there's a question from Niket Patil. He says, can I quit my job and look out for startup ideas, or get ready with, so like, is it a right time to quit a job?
I don't know what status of his life, that's what is important. If you're not married, you can just jump and do it. If you are married, ask your spouse. If she's going to say, yeah, just do it. That's actually the best scenario. And if you are actually in a very late career where you have a children or anybody, then I think you need to really look at differently. So, but yes, starting a job is definitely important. But when you actually, before you start, can you keep some reserves for about a year or maybe 6 months for you to survive yourself without actually, if the idea is not going to work. But don't worry. But even if that fails also, you have tried. There is no difficulty for getting a job even after that. Not an issue. But you can start. Just keeping this as a safety. That's the only thing I will be worried on your question.
Sure. Okay. So there's another important question. Geeta Madhuri had asked, what kind of computer knowledge does someone from a degree background require? Degree is basically commerce background should have today.
I think this question is of 1996. So when I actually started in the IT industry, so probably, but don't worry, Geeta Madhuri, I think it is internet, computers. I don't think you need to be really worried. You should be worried only about that. Okay, how can you really explore and exploit the internet is going to be the key. Forget about any basic things, because if you want to learn Excel, if you want to learn anything, everything is online. So don't worry about it. But I think your exploratory in nature must be used, and that is more than enough for any businesses right now.
So, though the time is almost ending, we have a lot of questions. I think we'll extend by 15 minutes with your permission.
Sure, no problem. My pleasure.
All right. So there's a question. This is something that you'll probably love to answer. Mohammed Saad Beg is asking this question about HR technology specifically. With the advent of technology, and you have been a hardcore proponent of HR technology. So what is the future of HR jobs? And with the advent of technology, what will happen to the HR jobs specifically?
So the two types of HR jobs are going to exist in the future. One, who can use technology for managing day-to-day HR. That's the only one. So, do you know anything digitally? How do you manage HR is a function. But the second most important is the human side. While the data and analysis is given by the technology, but how do you really interact with people, in terms of actually, how do you put to use of that data with an interaction with people? So I think mostly the human interaction is going to remain as it is, but it needs a lot of psychological aspects of business that you need to understand, and also people that you must understand. On the other side, if you don't know HR technology as a user, you have no existence in the future.
Sure. So yeah, next important question, how valuable is online degree? Will industry really recognize that? Online degrees, because almost every company today is offering an online degree.
We are not even bothered about degrees. So why are we bothered about online degrees? Paresh, I don't think, unless, see, what happens is, just to put a reference to you guys, is that any small mid-sized enterprises, I don't think we have ever even looked at the degree as a base at all. We only looked at as what is that you can bring into the company. But as the companies become bigger, they can't handle it so well. Hence, they start putting in a 1 degree and how much percentage, all that things will come in. But I don't think it will really have any impact. And today, people are actually going to like more if you have done your schooling online, or if you have done your schooling, because I see that there is a lot of people who does National Open School, National Open degrees, because the time that you're spending in college, probably you can actually get so much of experience. So just take an example. You pass out from intermediate, you will, let's say, assume that you're 18 years, and you go, one guy goes into an engineering, one guy goes into a industry, and after 4 years, I think this degree guy who has finished, probably should work with the guy who's actually already there on the job, and probably he would have done his online degree by then, right? So I think that's how I put it. It's going to be the future.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Yukta, there's also government in the education policy, India education policy. It is giving more weightage to credits and credit system, and ability for students to learn anything they want, rather than focusing on just a degree that they get from the college. And there's also a portal called Swayam that's launched by Government of India, which allows you to claim credits against your actual degree. So you can actually do some courses on Swayam, get a certification there, and claim it for your course as well. So there is going to be a more weightage. But like GR mentioned, companies, mostly like ours at least, we look out for skill rather than any degree. We don't really care about a degree as such. And yeah, you will have to upskill yourself and say that, hey, I'm very good at this, rather than saying I have a degree of this. So yeah, there are a few other questions. Is it good to do an MBA after doing a job, or as soon as graduation is completed? Like, there's a question from Soundarya.
I think this question has been ever since I started my career, way back 30 years. I think it's the same question that comes in. But I think after a graduation, even today when we are asking that, why do you need a graduation to do a job? When you are actually asking a different question. So what my take on that is that any MBA to give you a value, unless you have an experience, you cannot relate anything. The mistake that I made probably 30 years back, I don't think after 30 years, if you are making that same mistake, is actually of no use. So I would always say that gain certain experience and then do your MBA, so that you'll be able to relate what you have learned practically into an application of a management. And then I think that is what is going to give you more value when you actually pass out of your MBA degree. Otherwise, I don't think as such there is no value for just normal degrees, and degree over degree is actually of even no use. So it is actually looked at as more negatively if if you ask me today, if somebody does an engineering and then do another MBA and comes back and wanting to do the same job, probably I would say I can get the work done somebody who's in the graduation. And why should I really hire you? So I think please look at from this angle and then have some exposure and experience, and then you build your qualification over and above.
So, Ajay, another question related to this. While we said degrees are not so important, Chandana asked the next question. Is saying, what are the other qualities or skills that companies do usually look out for? Can we just list down one or two skills that
I can only say resourcefulness. So it is not, see, today everybody has an opportunity to get things where they are, right? So it is the question of how can you discover, an opportunity? How can you discover, somebody for a sales, or how can you discover some product, the material, or, the secondary, research, or whatever it is. So I think it is going to be more in terms of how much can you actually be able to bring on table when you actually are given a job. The moment the job is given, do you do your own research? Do you do actually, segregate the data? Do you actually put those things together? If you can't do it, can you go and ask the next guy? That's going to be another one. So that leads to another quality called interpersonal skills. I'm not talking about communication at all. I don't even refer to communication at all, in any state. The communication is the least thing. What is required is your interpersonal resourcefulness and your interpersonal skill. I think these two will give you actually a greater advantage than anybody else.
Sure. So again, this is something that comes again and again. But the question is, Madhavi asked the question, saying, is it a private job or a government job? How do you differentiate? What do you look at? So maybe you should actually collate all of this together and tell a kind of common answer. So we get a lot of questions about, should I do an MBA or this? Should I do a private job or a government job? What kind of things I should look out for right now? People are in a confusion state. So as common answer.
No, there is no confusion, Paresh. I think the confusion comes from, unfortunately, we have a lot of social impact on us. The expectation of others have been rubbed onto it. I think right. just close your eyes and say, what do you really want to do, right? If you really want to contribute something different, grow yourself into your career. Career is need to be more focused, whether it's a private or a government job, because there is, when I'm talking about the jobs are going to be gig workers, who go to work on call. That means where is a question of security. Earlier there was a security was an issue, hence we were really worried about. But today, if there is a skill, doesn't matter whether recession or non-recession, it is going to continue. So I think the focus has to be more in terms of what is the skill that you want to really learn, and how is that you are put to use, whether in private or in government sector. And please don't go by what your next door or your parents or your other people say, because I think you are no longer, you have a because there's a big opportunity, and then if you go by those, then you're more confused than otherwise. So my sincere advice is listen to yourself, and that's why I said, Paresh, earlier, mentor. Somebody is mentor who's not from these, probably will give you a very different perspective for your life.
Right.
And the opportunities are just immense. I don't know. I mean, I'm actually worried that in 30 years, let me give you an example. Only except once I had 100% recruitment I have done in my life. I have never done any time. The reason being, because the airline will not fly unless you have specified number of people. That's the only time I was able to do it, because the flight has to fly. Otherwise, on the tarmac, it will cost 1 lakh a day. So, that's the impact that I made. So I think the opportunities are, abundance at any point of time.
Right, absolutely. So, yeah, what JR is probably saying is, hey, you have to probably go back and look at what do you really want to do, and focus on that, and rather than going ahead and asking someone societally, like your relatives and everyone who actually asked you to do something specifically. Again, I would bring in a context, because we have been working with lots of colleges and alumni. Your seniors are your best guides. You actually reach out to a couple of your seniors and tell them what do you want to do and how to ask them for guidance. And they are the best ones to actually help you out in terms of things. And there's one other context I would probably want to add here, GR, is that people who really want to go for further studies at this point of time. May not be an MBA as such, because MBA, it's good to have an experience and go. But like definitely any master's program, it's probably a good time, because also anyway, there's not going to be any jobs that will be open up. Market will go down for next 6 months for sure. you will actually buy in at least 1 or 2 years, get into a college, enjoy the life there, probably study more and prepare yourself, upskill yourself, and then come back looking for a job. So that's like 2 years, everything will probably change. That's a different question. That's not for everyone, but yes, I think that's a perspective. Why not hold it? Do you have any thoughts? Like,
yeah, I think it is
right now and just continue studying.
I would say it is like a luxury. So if somebody has a luxury, I think they can always use it. Not an issue.
So the questions that keep pouring in, we are running out of time, GR. So probably we'll have to. The questions are there. In case anyone specifically wants some help, you can shoot out an email to the email that you already received this network from, and we'll probably try to connect with GR specifically. But I think we'll have to close right now. It's getting almost running out of time. Sure, GR, with your permission, would we end the session?
Yeah. Thank you, Paresh, for giving the opportunity.
Yeah, I'll just end some closing notes and then.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jia. So we have been doing this sessions on Career Center, specifically helping students to navigate the tough times that COVID has presented, and what are the lot of uncertainty that situation has presented to us. So as a part of this, we are doing it with number of numerous colleges as a partners, and in this session specifically we are partnered with St. Anne's College of Women, Medipatnam. I would like to thank Professor Kavita for partnering with us, and we are partnered with this is also in association with IMT Hyderabad, KK Vaga Institute of Engineering, Education and Research, that's in Nasik, and Vagdevi College of Engineering, and we have a lot of other institutions that are part of WOW who has been helping us. There are a lot of students here. I would like to thank each of them for joining this call. And I'd also like to thank all our team who has been helping because I'm probably the face and just putting it forward, but there's a lot of team who's working on it to help me put this session together. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Do reach out to us. There's a feedback form that will pop up post the call. Please fill in the form and give us a feedback about what other sessions that you would like to hear. There's a very interesting session that's coming up on Saturday. That's about what are the opportunities that startups would have post-COVID. There's this speaker called Shashi Chaudhary, who is an angel investor who's invested more than 25 companies and is also venture capitalist, invested as a limited partner in multiple venture capital firms. So he's coming on call. It's a 1-hour session that's going to be on Saturday, 11:30. So looking forward for all your support again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir, for giving more valid and positive inputs to our students, which are beneficial for their future. On behalf of our principal, Dr. Sister P. Amruta, and students, I thereby thank Mr. G. R. Reddy, sir, and Mr. Paresh for making the webinar happen successfully. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Jia. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much, Paresh. Have a great time and all the best to everyone.